so Luke won today, and it was how I called it. I mean, he's phenomenal. He proved it yet again, and he got the stoppage.
I will say you did call it by TKO or knockout, but you didn't call it by he would be tapping by strikes.
Yeah,
You just don't see that very often.
I figured it'd be a stoppage.
So, yeah, well done. Obviously, it was a little rough in the beginning, the first round. But what do you have, that body-to-body takedown and then just pounded the shit out of him. So,
Yeah.
and then David Brandt's over there tapping. So, impress.
Yeah, and people, I mean, he's being humble on Instagram now. He showed respect in his latest post on Instagram, but so many people call him arrogant.
Call him cocky.
Yeah.
Call him, why? I mean,
I want to say,
I thought everybody is.
I want to touch on that just a little bit. So I want to give you a little Jim story about Luke Rockhold, justifying a little bit of where this confidence comes from. But I mean, this is a guy who's been at the gym at AK headquarters for so long. He's been training for so long, and he was one of the later guys to come up. So he was there when it was all of us, me and Fitch and Koscheck and Kane. Kane and DC came after us, but there were so many other guys, and he was just training so hard, and he was such a great jiu-jitsu guy, such a great, phenomenal jiu-jitsu guy, and the type of jiu-jitsu guy that actually formed his own style. He's that innovative, creative jiu-jitsu guy, not just the kind that studied the moves that was taught to him. I mean, he would take the moves and then utilize them in a special way for his own body type. But nonetheless, he was a very good jiu-jitsu guy, and his striking was getting better and better, and he was just training so hard, but it took so long to get better because he had a long way to go. He had to work his whole striking game from scratch. And I remember in one of his earlier fights, I don't know if it was his first or a couple in or whatever, he was going for a leg lock, and he got I think TKO'd from the bottom because he kept going for the leg lock. And some of the guys on the team were basically saying like, oh man, he's fighting in a jiu-jitsu way, and like he might not be cut out for fighting because these jiu-jitsu guys, they stick to the jiu-jitsu, and he was going for that leg lock and just letting the guy hit him thinking he was going to get the leg lock, and then all of a sudden he got TKO'd or whatever had happened. And so he had a rough road coming up as far as it took him a long time. He saw a lot of other guys on the team get successful before him, and he never stopped training hard. So, and then you got DC, man. DC, we love DC. We just had him on the podcast.
Yeah, we did.
He's hilarious. He's awesome, but he's always busting Luke's balls, and everybody is. Yeah, everybody used to, especially. So the more successful Luke got, the more, they'd bust his balls, and the more he would come back and be like in your face, So it's one of those things where I think a lot of this confidence and arrogance or whatever people are seeing it stems from the gym. It stems from like a guy who's been trying so hard to make it for so long and not being able to, not being able to be successful for such a long period of time while everybody else was getting in UFC, everybody else was getting in Strikeforce, everybody else was winning titles.
Late bloomer.
Yeah, he was a late bloomer. So I think it was more of like a in your face to the gym, and then to the people who doubted him, which I think less fans doubted him in the beginning, to be honest, than the gym. And the gym was doing it more in a joking manner, kind of, right? It was just because he was a late bloomer, right? So I think that's where it stems from. He doesn't try to come around and just be better than everybody else. And, it's just a product of training hard for an excessive amount of time and taking a long, long road to get to the top. Mm. But it was worth it.
Well, he deserves to be a little, not angry, I guess is the word, but a little chip on his shoulder type
yeah,
thing.
He's not angry, but he wants to throw it in people's faces now that he made it, because I think a lot of people doubted him because of how long it took. It took him a long time. So, I'm sure, I don't know, obviously for a fact, but I'm sure that like midway through, his time at AK headquarters in San Jose, everyone else was making it to UFC and stuff, and he obviously had to start a striking game from scratch and improve, at a longer rate. People were probably saying stuff along the lines of like, why aren't you making it, or why aren't you getting the big fights, or where's your success? I'm sure he had to deal with a lot of that. And I know from my experience,
your whole team's going up.
Yeah, I know from my experience alone from Ultimate Fighter, the same thing happened to us when we were in Ultimate Fighter. Everybody said we weren't worthy of being in the UFC. Everybody said we weren't worthy. Like
assholes.
They said everything, yeah. And so if you saw my first fights in the UFC, I was trying to kill people, and you still to this day make fun of my post-fight comments.
Oh, they're the worst.
And go ahead.
And the best.
Go ahead, because I know you know them, but like I'm embarrassed to even say they're so bad.
They're up there.
And they're cocky. They're cocky and they're arrogant, but I'm not a cocky, arrogant guy. But it was me basically saying F you to all you people who doubted me and were telling me that I wasn't the Ultimate Fighter and I didn't deserve to be in the UFC because everybody thought we just got handouts, you know? And I think that's where he's coming from. It's one of those things where you have to put yourself in his position and understand that, like, he had a long road, you know?
Yeah, I don't think the average fan gets it. I didn't. Like, I always hated certain fighters for that reason because I was a normal fan.
Yeah.
And then now that, you know, being, not with you, but hanging out with you, you know, I've met all these guys that I originally hated, and they're amazing. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I met Rockhold a handful of times, and he's always been nothing but great to me.
Yeah, you know, and at the end of the day, also not coming from that or everything I just said, but yeah, I mean, he also deserves to be a little bit confident. I mean, he's done a hell of a lot. I mean, he's the champ. You know, he made it to be the UFC champion, and he just won another fight.
In my eyes, he's still the best in that division.
Yeah, and you know what? I have all the respect in the world for Bisping, man. I always have. He's a guy that comes forward. He puts it in your face. He's a guy that you should never, ever underestimate. But that being said, I will say, in my opinion, Luke Rockhold is a better fighter than Michael Bisping, and 9 out of 10 times he's going to beat Michael Bisping. I don't think Michael Bisping ever wants to fight him again, and ever will, unless he has to. You know, for all the guys hating on Luke, just give him a chance, you know, like, and look at his style and enjoy just the masterpiece he's created in himself. Because I know firsthand, I saw Luke when he first came to AK, and he wasn't near the fighter that he is now. He wasn't a fighter at all. I mean, really. I mean, he was a fighter, but not like this level, this world-class level. So, I mean, it's mastery, the way he works and the way he moves and the way his body, you know, does what it does.
Well, it is. That's just a testament to Javier, a.k.a.
Absolutely.
The whole system.
The curriculum, yeah.
And AK talent. Like I said, we're on our way.
Yeah,
So,
we're working on it. So that's just my piece to the people who are hating against Luke. Obviously, if you want to hate against Luke, you're free to do so. No problem. I mean,
I don't think he cares.
I don't think he gives a shit, to be honest. I see it, and I just want to put that story out there of kind of what people might not know of why he had probably a little bit of a chip on his shoulder coming up. He did have a rough road at AK. Not rough, but like long. And as with anyone, you know, I had a rough road until I got to AK. And even then at AK was a long road for me as well. And, you know, I had a chip on my shoulder too. Watching my first UFC fights. I won fast, but I was arrogant at the end of my...
You got fast hands and they hit hard.
I mean, I said everything, man. And then I'd look back like, God, what a douche. What a douche. That's what I would say. But at the time, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not talking to the fans. I'm talking to all these people that were doubting me on the message boards and telling me you shouldn't be in UFC and you don't deserve to be in UFC. And so it's like that stuff builds on fighters' minds, you know, and that's what you see. Luckily, that got overlooked in my career pretty fast. So I just want to touch on that and add a little gym story to sort of clarify a little bit of the confusion
Well, I'm
of
glad
why.
you did.
Well,
I learn in these podcasts as well.
yeah.
So I want to thank you.
And congratulations to Luke.
Yes.
Fantastic performance.
Great win.
And good show respect to David. And, man, I want to see him fight for the title next. He wants to fight GSP.
That's an easy fight for him.
I think he would be too much. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, legit, I don't care. I'm back and forth with Bisping. I think Bisping has a good opportunity and a good chance to possibly beat GSP. But I think it's just a no-brainer. Luke's going to beat GSP if they fight. And now he's talking about going to 205.
Why not?
So he's saying if Daniel Cormier moves out of 205 or whatever else, moves up to heavyweight, whatever the case, he might move to 205. So, man, who knows what's going to happen next? But, hey, it must be nice to be back on the winning track and have the world at your fingertips again. Now he's going to be with Will Ferrell hanging out at the
It's been a good week for AK.
ball games again. Yeah, good week for AK. So, again, guys, thanks for tuning in. And we're going to pop up some videos here that we think you should watch.
Where?
So, I think just pop up right behind us. And a little subscribe button. So I want you to do us a favor and subscribe. We got 500 subscribers right now.
Fuck.
Yeah, so you're 500 away from getting choked out by me on that couch. So give us a little subscribe. Check out the videos. Leave some comments. And thanks for watching.